You're tuned into Tampa Bay's RBLR Sports.
Hi, hello, how are you doing? My name is Liz, this is JD, and this is RBLR's son. JD,
Good morning.
how are you doing?
I'm doing good. I feel refreshed. I feel awake. I feel way less sick than last week. So we're back.
Okay.
That's all I have to say. How are you doing, Liz?
Not too bad. Pretty good. I got a haircut. My hair looks great.
Nice. It does.
I'm a cutie patootie.
Let's go.
Reminder, you can see our cutie patootie faces if you go to the YouTube. It's at RBLR Sports on YouTube and at RBLR Sun FC everywhere else. Hit the buttons. Leave us a comment. Interact with us for the love of God. Please, we need it.
Yeah. Argue with me in the comments. I always invite it. Very few people take me up on it. I will be there in the comments defending all my bad takes.
He will respond. Yeah.
Instagram, on X, I guess, YouTube. Watch on YouTube mainly. But
yes, yeah. Do yeah, YouTube. All right. We had a match.
We did.
We played DC.
We played DC. How'd it go?
Surprise, surprise. We drew.
We drew a not wonderful DC. And that does not feel good.
No.
But I think there's some good things in there. There's some good takeaways
I just want I want more good all at once right now.
I know. We want to win every game 100-0. I know. Wow. Well, we're gonna get there by drawing 150 games first, and then they'll.
Oh God.
Yeah.
It was just frustrating to give up a goal. Like we led for the first time at home.
We did lead the first one at home. It lasted through halftime.
40 minutes.
Plus 15. Great dance program by whatever school that was.
True.
So, and they performed to a crowd that was in the lead at the time. So the vibes were wonderful.
Yes. I do love that we get like local schools to like perform for halftime. Like that's super cool. I when I was in marching band. Anytime I got to perform at high school, it felt like such a big thing. And then these are like little kids, so they must be like, oh my gosh, there's so many people.
Yeah, yeah, it was cool. It was actually the first time I got to see like a full show at one of the halftimes because normally I'm like going around getting food or whatever. But yeah, we were just chilling in the section. Fun. It was fun that they did different age groups as well. So it was like the little kids just kind of like hopping around. I mean, you know, it was choreographed, but they tried their best. And then like the big kids at the end slayed or whatever people say about dancing.
Yeah, that's what Gen Z says, right?
Yeah.
Oh, all right. We had a little bit a little bit different lineup. Sorry. Yes, we changed up a couple of things in the lineup. We had Parsons up top, right behind her as like our attacking mids. We had Fusco, Shimkin, and Nacello. Switching up Shimkin instead of, I think we started Giamona.
It was Giamona
this week. Yeah. And then we had, of course, our dynamic duo of Listro and Provenzano in the midfield. And then McNeil, Hendricks, Bissett, Chisholm as our backline, and Beardsley again in goal.
Yes. I thought that was kind of good to see that we committed to that new lineup. We talked about it in that game recap. There's 3 pro debuts, literally players that had not played professional football before. Not that NCAA isn't very competitive, but and then we started them all, ran it back, got them all in there again. And for the bench, we had Gaillard, Brian, Giamona, Haugen, Zaid, Weber, and Wegner. And so I was going to just say that Weber also got on late in the game. That was one of the keys that I was looking for, was her energy late in the game, and she definitely brought it. So yeah, good to see that these new signings that we made are like a commitment. We were like, we're bringing these players in, we're going to play them. And that's what we've done in these first 2 games. 2 equal results, okay results, because we look as a team a lot better than we did before. So I'm okay in terms of the individual players that we brought in. I think they look better than some of the pieces that, left for whatever reason. So I think in that in terms of the players, it's been an improvement. So we just need those gosh darn results. We need the results. But
Yeah, never. Even the team is feeling it. I talked to Maddie afterwards, and she's like, "We just need to win."
Yeah. Yeah, not for lack of trying.
Yeah.
Certainly, this game had a lot of sun pressure and a lot of opportunities. So, but let's go through the timeline of the game and just kind of cover everything that officially happened on the score sheet, and then we'll get into kind of what we saw out there and what we want to take away. Also, we're trying this kind of as a new format for a game recap. So, if you like how this style is, or if you like just going through more beat by beat, let us know. If there's a better way for us to do it, always open to feedback. But
Yes, I take constructive criticism, but please don't be mean.
yeah, don't be mean.
This is who you're being mean to. Remember?
Be mean about the argue with you in the comments. Yeah, we started pretty strong off kickoff, so that was really good. And we ended up putting a lot of pressure on in the first 20 minutes, and it resulted in a 23rd minute Sun goal by Jordan Fusco, which was great because she tried and got it blocked, and then she tried again and she scored it. So essentially, the run of play was Nacello was on the left because she's been playing close to short corners. So she was on the left there, and DC clears it out from the actual corner that we took in her initial cross, and she gets it back, and then she makes a turn kind of away. This is all on the left side, kind of near the edge of the box. She makes like a turn away, and then she does like a no look back heel as Shimkin makes a run around to the end line, which was sick. Very stylish. And so Shimkin gets all the way up to the end line and then does like a cut back to Fusco. And she takes a shot on her right foot, and it is blocked by a defender in front of the goalkeeper. And it was kind of at a wider angle. So in terms of just where the defense was, she didn't have a great view of net. It was kind of a hopeful shot. I mean, it definitely, if she had placed it a little more in the corner, it probably would have gone in. But very fortunately, since it was off a defender and the goalkeeper didn't catch it, it bounced right back to her, making a run a little bit more forward. And on the kind of skinnier angle, once she was past the defender, she gets it on her left foot and takes the shot and just totally beats Aquino down to her left. And it just goes right into the middle of the net. I thought that was a fantastic, and this is something that she's brought a couple times. We've talked about her assists and just in general, goals that ended up being blocked or saved, but she brings like an energy when she's in the box to just push for that second time. So that was really cool to see her kind of switch feet in the middle of the play, take the shot on one, and then not take the exact same shot when she gets the ball back, move forward a little bit, take it from a little bit different angle, get past the one defender. And Aquino is not a pushover as a goalkeeper. She definitely got down quick to get to it, but it was just in that area. I don't think it went between her legs. I think it went under her left side. So it's just in that area where you can't kick it out in time, but you can't get your arm down there, as I'm doing a physical motion that you can't see. You can't get your arm down there in time. So yeah, I thought it was a pretty nasty goal.
No, yeah, Fusco just has I don't know. It's almost like Ashlyn Puerta-esque ability to just find space, make space, and shoot. And it's great. She really is a great pickup for this season, and I'm very much looking forward to seeing many more goals from her.
Yeah, that's kind of, we covered it with our attacking, the changes to the attack, with Parsons up there. Parsons playing almost more of a hold up role in this game, so not necessarily the final touch. We were taking final touches on the edges of the box a little bit more, taking shots from the edges of the box. Again, I wish more of them ended up in the back of the net. Literally one more of them would have been nice. But this is just reminiscent of what these players can bring to the table that our squad didn't really have before. So that was really nice to see.
Moving on, we had, unfortunately, the 63rd minute, DC gets a goal in from Claire Constant. DC gets a free kick. Fitch does a long pass forward into the box. It's headed across by DC. Henny tries to head it to clear it, but puts it in the path of Colton on DC, who plays it back to Thor. I don't know how you say her name.
Yeah.
Is it? Okay,
I'm pretty sure.
I don't trust the announcers because the announcers said Aquino. 58 different ways.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Sorry. So Threat. Sorry. Yeah, Threat. Who's at the top of the 18. Does a cross shot to Beardsley's left. Beardsley fumbles it, and it falls back to Constant, who passes it, who hits it past off of Bissett into the side netting, unfortunately. Maybe a game I would have liked to have Sydney Schneider for.
Yes. Not necessarily in its entirety, but certainly Liz Beardsley likes to commit. And so she does a full dive. She steps forward a lot. In some instances, especially when moving forward in the box and collecting a ball and maybe challenging a breakaway, she has been pretty successful at shutting those down. But yeah, this was just like, it's in her gloves and then it's not. And I was kind of shocked. I mean, it's obviously a mistake. So there's no, I don't think we need to call for her head or anything, but it was definitely definitely a matter of she's getting down to the side. I don't know if like her elbow hit the ground or something that pulled her hand away from the ball, but like she has it for sure. It was not out of reach. And then she almost kind of like volleyball bump passes it just across. And then also to Seth's credit, she's there in the right spot to receive a shot or to block a shot. And it actually goes off her shoulder and a little bit more contact with her, and it would have been deflected wide. So she gave it her best effort as well to get between Constant and the goal, and she just it bounced off her and it went into the side netting. Again, a matter of inches if it hit the post. So definitely players in the right places. I don't have any fault on positioning. It was really Hendrick's clearance where she heads it and it just falls right to Colton. I think that is like where the play went wrong. We should have never just given him the ball back in the box like that. Obviously she's trying to clear it further and just didn't get a great hit on it. But a little bit one you want back on 3 players for sure there that probably all think they could do a little bit better and it wouldn't have been an opportunity. But I think a goal like that hurts worse because we had been knocking the whole first half into the second half, and then they get one back, and it's like, well, how is this a tie game where, we're taking shots? So I knew this was coming.
Hello, if you're not watching on the YouTube, you're missing Kitten.
You're also like wondering why it's quiet.
Yeah, but she's so cute. I love her so much.
It's a worthy interlude. I don't know. Yes. It's good. In terms of subs, then DC made a few right after the goal, I believe. No, actually right before the goal. They were around the 60th minute, and then we didn't make ours until the 75th minute, and we actually did 4 at the same time because Sydney DeCello went down off the ball injured, and we don't really know what's going on with that. I will spoil immediately that we do not have any injury news for you. Hopefully she's feeling okay. Hopefully she's healing well. But in terms of the subs that happened in the game, Haugen came on for McNeil, Gaillard came on for Shimkin, Giamona came on for Fusco, and then Jordan Zaid came on for the injured Sydney DeCello. That's why we were able to do 4 in the same window, because it was for an injury. I thought these were good subs in terms of player to player, very like players in each of these positions, and it gives us some different options and a different approach to attacking in the final part of the game. But I think we could have had, especially the next sub in the 88th minute when Weber came on, I think that needed to be a little bit sooner. Specifically Weber's to finish off the game strong. She came on for Listro right at the end. I mean, we had 8 minutes of stoppage, something like that, because of the injury in the goal. So a little bit more time to play with, but still, that's the sub I would probably want at 75 or 80, and those other subs maybe even earlier. So overall, just match stats. Oh, full time ended 1-1. Overall, match stats wise, we had 18 shots, 5 of them were on target. Not a bad stat if they weren't all literally blocked. And we had a 43% possession. and a tail. We had one tail appear on the podcast. With 8 corners, we were offside 4 times, and we got 1 yellow card. I think that was an interesting. We didn't play very. I also have a cat doing something over here. We didn't play very aggressively, like overly aggressively. We picked our moments to use force, but we didn't play frustrated. I think the team was locked in the full time, even though this was a pretty frustrating game to be a part of. The only time I feel like I saw the team exhausted or give up was literally the last play of the game, and then the full-time whistle blew. So no knocking him for lack of trying, but it ended up 1-1. So Liz, how did you feel? What did you get out of that experience on a nice and cool Saturday night in Tampa? You might be muted. I don't hear you.
And my cat muted me because she loves to sit on the space bar. It is her favorite spot.
This is
so
a very relatable experience.
Yeah. So my takeaway from watching the game in person or from rewatching the game?
All of the above.
If you rewatch the game, it's really giving 8th versus 9th. It was a lot of midfield stuff. Not super exciting, but you don't want it to be like exciting. Oh, well, you want it to be exciting, but you don't want it to be like too exciting or anything. I do think we were doing some things better. We did a lot of recycling, but not too far past the halfway line. We were really keeping it in their half.
Yep.
She loves to sit on the space bar. I'm literally moving my keyboard as far up as possible. I'm sorry. What was I saying? A lot of recycling.
Yeah,
that's right. A lot of recycling, but not past the halfway line. Keep really trying to keep it in their half. And instead of like impulsively passing it to whoever's closest, I felt like we were more kind of like gently pushing on them, which I appreciate. More deliberate, more intent with who we're passing to. So I did like that. Kind of wish we had Schneider in goal. The reason I say that is because I feel like Schneider is a little more, instead of pushing the ball out or just trying to clear it, she is a little more intentful and like tries to just scoop it up. And I think maybe there were a couple of times where Liz Beardsley just tried to push it out when I wish she had just tried to grab it and hold on to it and fall on it, so that they couldn't get the ball back.
Yeah. I mean, and to your point about like how much we were cycling and moving the ball around, we ended the game with 43% possession. I always say that wrong when I try to say it out loud. Percent possession. So we did not have a majority of the ball during the game, and I think that is like at odds with how we want to play moving forward. Is like build up play. We want to pass it around the midfield a few times, get it forward, and then pass it around between the forwards a few times and find the opening and take the best shot possible in that opportunity. And I think while we did have 18 shots this game overall and 5 of them on target, those were probably not the 18 best shots that we could have taken in those opportunities. And it's because we lose the ball so often, we're not completing passes. And so the players, once they're forward and once they have a whiff of goal, a little bit of a possibility of putting the ball on frame or towards the net, they are taking that shot. And we saw so many blocks and so many like opportunities where we just fully gave it up. We had only 66% passing accuracy in their half of the field. So that, and they had 72 just for like a frame of reference. So that just goes to show like, if we want to play a little bit more possession and build up towards goal, we have to actually complete our passes, and we weren't doing that. But not to be all negative, we did take 18 shots. We were the more aggressive attacking team the whole game. It's how I want to see us play at home. If we have to absorb a game plan from another team, save that for road trips. I want us to play our game at home, and I think for the most part we were able to do that. As the new players get into the squad more, every single training session, every single day, the pass completion should be increasing. So if we're low right now, but we want to have a strong run to the end of the season where like mathematically we almost have to win all our games, that needs to start changing now, essentially. But in contrast to the first game back this half of the season, our midfield was even more proactive and active. So I gave a lot of kudos to Gabby Provenzano last week or 2 weeks ago because of her role in energizing the team and playing defensively. And we played a team in Spokane that pushed us a lot more than DC did. So I think her role was to take a lot more defensive duties on, but also Listro stepped it up this game and was a lot more involved moving forward as well. So like the dynamic duo in midfield, if they're, we talked about maybe, I don't know if we have vice captains, but Gabby Provenzano feels like a great candidate to be alongside Listro, not just in position, but in terms of, leading the team or bringing energy to the team. And they were much more of like a duo in this game to me than the first game. So I'd love to see that develop more. And as the defense and forwards play better together, they're more free in the midfield to control their own game. Like I mentioned already, we were not needlessly physically aggressive, but one time for my girl Taylor Chisholm, I was not familiar with your game, and that is not a sign of disrespect. It is truly, I literally didn't know. But there is a great sequence in the 95th minute. She had a really solid game. I mean, obviously we only allowed one goal. We didn't really allow a lot of opportunities for them coming forward at all. So our defense had, I would say, a better game than last week. But Taylor Chisholm in the 95th minute just fully shoulders a player. I didn't catch what player it was. Fully shoulders her off the ball and is going to take control of it. And in a 50-50, she just executes this perfect slide tackle on Colton, takes her down, wipes her out in the box, but full confidence, held the ball, I guess kind of at her ankles, and just got up and took it forward from there. And that was the sickest thing I've ever seen. I literally told her after the game, I was like, I used an expletive. I was like, that was gnarly. She was happy to hear that her efforts were recognized. For sure, it was pretty much one of their like two opportunities in stoppage time. Otherwise, it was all us going the other way. So it was good that she, picked that moment to completely body somebody and then slide tackle into somebody else and play all fair and do it all legally. That was pretty sick.
Yeah, I'm really liking what I'm seeing from Taylor Chisholm. And I say this only with love and affection. She's like a taller Sabrina McNeil, and it's great. And I want like 10 more of her. Yeah.
We all dream of a team of Taylor Chisholms. And also, let's not forget her pro debut was last game. So yes, if she is pulling these kinds of moves out, I very much look forward to see her developing as a player. Because I loved what I saw. That again, just like Nacella's back heel, some style points, somebody out there having fun with it, playing their role, committing to it, getting on the ground, getting dirty. It's really cool. Unfortunately, I'm going to flip this all the way back to what I didn't like again, was that we just wasted so many chances. Like I already said, we might not have taken the best shots overall, but 8 corners, and none of them led to a goal. One of them indirectly, it wasn't off the corner, but it was like off of the corner routine. But overall, if you're getting 8 corners, you definitely want to try and get a few more of those on target, on frame. And we pretty much wasted all of them except for the one. And we also had 4 offside calls. I mean, this one is just going to happen when you're the team going forward more, but we do seem to get caught offsides quite a bit. It was worse in the previous game, but it still needs some tightening up. We just got to find our timing right, clean that up a little bit more. And yeah, just our passing accuracy, our control of the ball. I think that is something that I need us to definitely do better. If we had 50% possession, I'm going to try and say it again and mess it up again. If we had 50% possession this game, that's that many more opportunities for shots and possible goals. And in this game, even 2 more shots could have been the difference. Even 1 more shot could have been the difference. So that's really like what I'm taking away is, okay, we've got attacking pieces that know their role moving forward. Our midfield is clicking. Our defense is clicking. Can we get some across the line? Just get a couple more truly quality opportunities, because those are the ones that are going to convert, and not just take kind of a shot whenever we're finding an opening and then it's not really an opening because there's a defender there. So many block shots in this game. You are muted once again.
Izzy, I swear to God, I was saying this earlier, she's the best cat. She's a terrible desk cat because she gets in the way of everything.
Yeah, no sense of space.
No, none. One thing that I think was unfortunately to our detriment was, for some reason, we waited till like the 74th minute, the 75th minute to make subs. And I wish we had done it maybe even 10 minutes earlier in the 65th, or even the 60th would have been great. Especially since we knew we had to have known DC was going to change up something at halftime, because they want to win just as much as we want to win. 8th and 9th, trying to get points anywhere we can. I wish we had done those subs a little bit sooner. I think it just kind of how our team is, and to know, not saying this is a bad thing, sometimes you just need a little bit of time to get in the flow of the game, and understand, like, oh, okay, this is how this is going. And you could see it because Carly Giamona was cooking by the 90th minute. She just needed a good 15 minutes to get, like, warm, honestly. Like, you can be warm going in, but it's different when you're actually in the game. And Giamona, I think, is someone we've kind of been missing out. I swear to God, Izzy, if you sit on the space P again. Giamona was one that I think last year and was one of our key players, and she's kind of been more contained in the past couple of matches. So, like I said, it would have been nice to see her out there a little bit longer, and see some of that Giamona magic happen.
Yeah, I agree with the timing of the subs. In DSP's defense, what we were doing out there should have resulted in at least one more goal by that point of the game. So to me, like, if you're looking at, okay, do I turn this squad over and put different players out, that could have a negative effect. We could get worse, theoretically. So if the players that are out there are warmed up in the game and clicking, that's probably part of why she left them out there a little bit longer. Because I think if it was a game where we were trailing, obviously we would have made the subs. I mean, they made their subs and scored in like 3 minutes. It wasn't one of the subs that scored, but just obviously some fresh blood on the field. And I feel like we maybe should have responded to that, and we didn't. We waited over 10 minutes after they scored to make our subs. So yeah, you're totally right there. And the last thing I think we'll touch on just for this game is the absolutely heartbreaking finish, because the whole time we feel like we're probably the better team. We definitely had better opportunities. My wife mentioned to me from the heat wave section, we barely saw the team in the second half of the game. We barely saw the game in the second half because the Sun were attacking away from us. And since the Sun were being so effective attacking away from us in the stadium, they were at the other end of the field the whole second half. So that obviously gave us a lot of positivity and good feelings. And in the last 2 minutes of the game, regular time, and then in the 9 minutes of stoppage time, we had 7 chances, if you want to call it that, kind of shots. And they were all blocked or off target. So Weber was out there. This is like this is where she shined so far, is coming in late and, being fresh legs and being quick. And she definitely contributed in that aspect. 4 of those chances were hers. And then one chance she had was knocked away by the keeper and fell right into the path of Jordan Zaid. And as the very last play of the game, Jordan just cannot get a foot, knee, chest, shoulder, anything onto it properly. And she ends up kneeing it and skying it above the goal, basically to an open net. Obviously a mistake. No one is going to feel worse about it than she already does. So I will not harp on it. It is just an event that happened in the game. But like I said, that was the only time I saw the team, like, Faith turned around, heads to hand, Jordan laid in the grass for an extra second. And then when the goalkeeper took that goal kick, the full-time whistle blew. So I can't knock the effort. They were truly fully locked in that whole time, but Jordan had to convert that goal as the very last chance of the game. I mean, it would have just been an amazing moment. So extremely heartbreaking finish, very frustrating. And I think it put a damper on like how I feel about the game overall. Like if we were just bad the whole time and we got a draw, then I'd be like, nice, a draw. I mean, we still need to be winning games, but it would have been cool. But the way it ended is definitely a big heartbreaker. So not a recommended go rewatch. Go rewatch the first half, and then you don't have to see any injuries or missed opportunities or any goals against us. See if they got any of the dance program during halftime. Go watch that part of it. That's when all the spirits were still high.
Yeah, that sucked. And for anyone who wasn't there, it was not. It was not. It was very. It was very akin to Bedoya, just absolutely skying the ball. When it was empty net. Zayd was just too fast for her own good.
Yeah.
How dare she, baby horse that she is.
Yeah. The knee came up and just, that ball got destroyed. So I would not want to get hit in the head with a knee at that pace. But maybe a little more finesse in the moment would have been.
Yeah. Some random silly shit that I noticed during the game that I didn't know where to put except at the end. The 43rd minute, Nazello 100% trips on herself. And somehow gets a call. And then gets annoyed when the DC players aren't giving her 10 yards. And that was just really funny to watch. It's just like the audacity. I love her so much.
Yeah. She's a great shithouser.
Yeah. And then also I have questions. I have to know, why do we look like airplanes? Why do we do this? We stick our arms out on corners. Mike made the joke of when Sandrine did it, it was Swiss Air, and now I can't stop laughing at that.
Okay. We got to do like regional airlines for any
Julie
corner
Shipkin
takers.
did it first, and then I really started noticing it when Sandrine was doing it.
That's funny.
Yeah. And then also, if you do go back and watch the game, right at the end, right after DSB, right after the whistle's call, I think DSB like shakes hands with Omen Namazi, the other coach. She does this really funny face. It's just like a lemon face, and you can see she's just like mad, like mad.
Yeah.
Dang it.
It shouldn't have gone this way.
No.
Well, Liz, do you have a player that stood out to you? Player of the match? Anyone who rocked your socks?
Gotta be Fusco.
I'm gonna agree.
Be Fusco for that goal. Honestly, it was top notch. There was no quit in her, and I love it.
Yeah. I think we had great movement up front. Like I said, I saw Listro getting up there. Maddie Parsons was playing a lot more of like a hold up role, and she freed up more space in the box for other players to get up there. And I think Fusco filled that space really well. And even though like her tactical position is more on the wing, she put herself in the position to get a recycled ball off a corner and get a goal. So great positioning, great opportunity taken. Big shouts, Fusco. Good game.
Okay game.
Yeah. Fair enough.
No, you know what's great is the interview we have coming up next with Christina Unkel, president of Tampa Bay Sun.
Yes, good interview. You're gonna like it a lot.
Yeah.
Enjoy as it randomly cuts from us to that.
Hi guys, we are here today with JD, of course, and our president. She is an attorney, an entrepreneur, a former FIFA referee who spent over 15 years at the elite level of global soccer. You've seen her on Fox Sports, on CBS, Paramount Plus. You've read her words in The Athletic. She also happens to be the president of your Tampa Bay Sun FC, Christina Unkel. Thank you so much for joining us today. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Thanks, Liz. Hey, JD. I'm glad. At first, I was like, oh my God, she's not going to read the whole thing, is she?
Yes, I am.
It is pretty mortifying.
It's pretty cool, I would say.
Yeah.
Thanks. I just follow the ball. So wherever things bounce, I'm just like, oh, squirrel, let's go do that. So that's how I got here.
We're glad you're with us.
Yeah, thanks.
For anyone who might not know, just in general terms, like what is being the president of the Sun entail? Like, what are your kind of duties overall, broad strokes?
Yeah, no, definitely. So my title is president and general manager of the club. So for those who kind of divide it up, right, when you think of a football club, you have your business revenue standpoint, the thing that churns, and obviously ticket sales, corporate partnerships, marketing, etc. And then you have your sporting side of the club, which is what you would think: technical staff, players, the operational team, medical, clinical, the whole thing. So I have the lovely opportunity of one, having built something from scratch and something that I needed that did not exist when I came out of college soccer. But now to be able to build it on both sides, on the front of house side as well as the sporting side, has been truly, truly unique. I'm fully and technically employee number one. So I have seen this before there was a name, a brand, a location, this office, the training facility, even where we were playing. So it's been a really, really unique situation, because nowhere in my bingo card would I ever have said I would have worked in sports outside of like the refereeing side of it. I've actually been running away from sports because sports typically doesn't pay. And I was like, nah, I'll just stay in the legal world, right? Do litigation and, do commercial and business stuff. But yeah, it's just, I think at the end of the day, like this alignment of me stepping into this position and kind of having that varied experience background of having seen football at the highest levels around the world globally, and then also seeing it at the highest levels here domestically, being able to see the differences, and then having the legal business background, and having been in women's pro sports since I was 19, 20 years old, has really kind of created this perfect storm, for lack of a better term. So when out of nowhere the opportunity came up, I said, you know what, why not? I've seen women's pro teams not done right. I've seen leagues not done right. I've seen leagues fold. I've seen a team take down a league before. And I was just like, if I'm going to complain about it, and I'm going to sit there, and I haven't been able to advocate for pro athletes and pro female athletes, now that I get an opportunity, if I don't take it, then that's on me, and I can't complain anymore about the state of women's sports and how we can make it better. So that's how I ended up doing what I'm doing. So it's fascinating. But yeah, pretty much every facet of the club, I am responsible for putting food on everyone's table and a roof over their head, and I do not take that job lightly.
So you're about a year and a half into the job. Since you were referencing all your past experience, what's it been like to transition from being a referee into the business world?
So the referee to the business world isn't that big of a leap, because coming up as a pro referee, particularly as a female pro referee, we did not have the resources, the finance. We're not full time like the men were. It's only been until recently, right, with Tori Penso having gotten a full-time contract. So that wasn't really a thing. So we always were refereeing on the side, right? You would work your full-time job. And for me, that was a legal attorney, working in the business side and scaling some businesses and selling them. That was my Monday through Friday job. And on the weekends, like you've seen those Las Vegas commercials where they're like, what did you do this weekend? And then like 50 things flash through their mind. And they're like, oh, it was fine. Like that's what I had to tell people on Mondays, because nobody understood, like, hey, I just refereed, Portland, Seattle, and Portland, right? With all the people, like it was hard to explain that to people, particularly in Sarasota. So didn't really tell many people that. But the jump from the business side was pretty straightforward. I think it's just a little bit learning more about the industry of sports. I don't think it's essentially fully complicated, but it is a huge demand on people's time and bandwidth and creativity. And this is one of the first businesses I've built and scaled with people I didn't know versus, building and scaling a company with people I did know. So it's just learning kind of different management styles. And now I'm officially the old person. I'm 38 years old. Everyone's in their early to mid 20s for the most part. And I'm like, oh my God, I now know what it means to work with people a decade and a half younger than me, and how you activate them and inspire them and get them to show up every single day, right? So got a really good staff here, but that's really the only big kind of a jump. I think the most probably from that referee side is like outside of playing college soccer. So I played at Palm Beach Atlantic and West Palm. After my senior year, my last game, that was the last time I ever played and cared about the outcome of a game, in the sense of like, oh, I'm passionate about that fan. Like I'm a huge Leeds fan now, but I wasn't allowed to be, and nor was I until after I was refereeing, in case they came in for the summer where I had the ability to referee them. So I've just been neutral pretty much my entire life. But now that you have a team behind you, God, you feel every single hit and blow and high and low and the success. And that's the part that has really caught me by surprise. It's just like, it does now matter. When somebody goes down injured, my heart's like, crap, get up, please get up. Not just from a human element, but from a business element side of it too. I was like, I don't think we can sign another couple players or anything to cover that position. But yeah, I think the biggest jump was probably more the mental, psychological side, and seeing how the sporting side can impact the front of house side when it comes to like that energy and that drive. But that's also now explains to me. People said it was different to work for a club versus a league. And now I completely get it. You can get really behind a club. When you're part of a league, you get behind the league in general, but you don't get those emotional ties attached to players and technical staff. And even technical staff here, we just did season ticket renewals. So our Sun Chasers started yesterday, and it's just super cool when you got the ticket account executives. They ring the cowbell, right? Whenever I always say, like, every time you ring a cowbell, like an angel gets its wings. And then sporting comes over and high fives them, right? So it's really cool that we're that close, where our sporting team is very relevant with the front of house and front of house with sporting. And they all know who's working for each other on and off the field. So that's been a really cool kind of, I didn't realize it was different from other sporting environments where front of house never sees sporting. Here we have a glass door between us. So
that's super cool. And welcome to the heat wave. Welcome to being a fan.
Yeah,
no, that's what that now you know why we're out there making the noise and doing everything. And I did want to actually speak about your FO, your front office, and the team that you built. The Sun just celebrated National Girls and Women in Sports Day, and in part of that press release mentioned that we're one of the only front offices, or maybe the only front office in American professional sports that's primarily women. And especially like in executive positions and running the show. So I wanted to just ask you what that significance was to you, and also what was it like building that team? Were you looking to do that intentionally, or did it just happenstance? Like, what was that process like? And I mean, it's great that that's the identity that we are,
Yeah, no, honestly, I just hired the most qualified individuals. And it just happened to be female. And I did not fully recognize that, right? Which is people who showed up, right? Job applicants, who is purpose driven, who's all in, right? How can we move together as one? How do we never settle? How do we, just effectively, and it just every single one seemed to be that case. And I actually didn't know any of that stuff either until Victoria, who's new, who just joined us on the communication side of it, and Catalyst with Grayson. I think you guys have met Grayson. They were the ones who were like, oh, here's the statistic and here's the number and here's everyone. I'm like, wait, what are you talking about? And they're like, I'm like, oh, that is a really cool story. So it's not that I don't think it was built intentionally, because I'm very, very specific that every job, right, you need to interview everybody, not just those, and particularly having, even in the legal world, right? So first generation American, my dad's from Guatemala, my mom's from Honduras, right? They came to this country and, fought for the American dream for me. And, one of the biggest things was education is one thing that they can't take away from you. So for me, I've seen it where if you've not had, and no fault to anyone else, right? Because there's decades and generations of having been a certain place. Like me, I never would have known how to apply for colleges and knew that you would have done it in your sophomore year of school, right? I would have saved my senior year but for the people around me who taught me those things. So it's not lost on me that, right, we don't have that many women coaches, right? It's not lost on me that we don't have a lot of women in the front of house on the business decision side of it. So I don't want to say it was like I was completely ignorant to it. I think just at the end of the day, maybe a resume that may not have probably gotten through the initial review, I would take an interview that might have been missing an element or two, because it is truly surprising how many women who are more than qualified will most likely either sometimes not apply and or will be just really apologetic about their resumes at times. And I'm like, it's just this whole notion about the power to do something versus the power over something. That's a whole other conversation. But so yeah, I would just give more people opportunities. I would cast the net a little bit wider. And I would, and then for me, I really wanted people who had a different perspective. Not everybody in the front of house really knew soccer, and that's okay. Because at the end of the day, we have fans to entertain, and there's plenty of soccer and football understanding that happens in the front of house with a lot of our people. Like, I need a diversity of thought, people who aren't just yes people, and people who aren't willing to just settle for checking the box. It's a lean team, it's a small team, and at the end of the day, we show it for the fan, we show it for you guys, and I just need somebody who needs to be on that. So yeah, it was a really cool story. It's a really cool statistic. Sadly, not a shocker that's the reality. But you got to start it somewhere. So I've been a big believer in just I don't need to see it to know it can exist. I can build things in my brain and I can make them into reality. So that's just another example of it.
Awesome.
So one of the probably biggest struggles with starting in a brand new league is there's no established player base. Excuse me. What was it like building a brand new roster from scratch in the first year? Like, did you look at colleges, domestic pros, internationals? Like, how did you kind of balance all that to build a successful squad?
Yeah, so super blessed in the first year, right? We had identified Denise Schulte Brown as the head coach pretty quickly on, her assistant coach, Eric, who was coming with her from USF. So when they were done with their 2023, so they were done with their college at the end of November, the ability, and they had already begun, right? Because we had announced some of it, I think the same time as me, as July of 2023. They had already been scouting and starting to develop. So they had that opportunity with not having to coach to truly be like a scouting group, right? And be able to take a look at it and share their depth chart. So like Liz, to your point, it's kind of funny because I was just talking to some of the NWSL teams who are starting from scratch too, right? And I told them it's an awesome opportunity, right? You're not forced to take a player through the draft, right? Like that sounds horrible, but that truly was getting to the point where people were just drafting people because they had to draft people, but they never had intentions to sign contracts. And I was like, wow, that's a waste of time for everyone. Like I get the energy and the excitement, and trust me, I've been to some NWSL drafts and you appreciate it for the kid and for all of that energy, but it wasn't being able to really build out the team intentionally, deliver it how you wanted to. So it's always fun when you get to see like the new NWSL teams building out a team and they're calling and they're like, I'm like, it's okay. You can do this. You got deeper pockets too. Like this won't be that hard. But to build it out our first year, we really built out based a lot of on seniority. As you saw, the Erica Timracks of the world, right? The Jordan Listros, the Dommies, those who've been seasoned pros, who kind of had an understanding, because back to your point, you're building out an entire squad of 24 pro athletes. What does that look like? How can they create a culture and an environment that can last, right? Jade Moore being that key cog for us last year, with her experience both internationally abroad and also having the domestic experience too. So that was a lot of focus of the last year, was to get a couple of those seasoned players and then find some young ones that can develop and grow underneath them. But that's like first year actually we think was the easiest year. It's the maintaining it, it's the continuity, it's the awareness of the league. The first year in the league, it was really hard to convince people to come in the first place, because I don't blame them. They're like, new league. There's 2 leagues in the United States. We don't know what the standard of play is going to be like, even though there was guaranteed contracts and, equivalent salaries to the NWSL rookie contract starting out. People were still concerned, so they didn't want to move until they saw things. So it's that first mover's advantage. Now there's an influx and a flooding of the market, which is great. And that's kind of the whole point, was to create more soccer, more opportunities, more access. If anything, I think the number of people we have to say no to, right, breaks your heart. And then you're like, nope, still not, right? And they're not even being able to find a team here in the United States, so they have to go play abroad. But that's pro sports too, at the end of the day. It's creating your own luck, right? And sometimes if you can't do that here domestically, they go abroad. And thankfully, with technology nowadays, you don't have to travel in every single part of the world to see a player. Any youth player, you can just pull up a Spidio and see them. So it's been interesting. After the first year, that was pretty cool. Second year was like, how do we influx more youth? And I can tell you for the following season is, how do we bring in a couple more seasoned pros to strengthen up our spine? Particularly since sometimes when you get a seasoned pro, they come with a little bit more injuries. So you have to manage their minutes a little differently. But that can impact, right, obviously the performance on the field, right? That person who could just say like, let's get it together and let's go. You need that champion on the field. So although they are really cool and bonded together and they're incredible individuals, it's just like just 1 or 2 more of those individuals can really tip the scale. So it's been interesting learning how to create that right sporting mix. So trust me, we're cooking back here.
It's good to hear. So then we created a great squad the first year. We won the championship. Beautiful moment behind me.
Hey.
And I wanted to ask, operationally and sporting side, what lessons did you learn in the first year that you're going to take forward? Maybe you've implemented them, maybe you still have plans. What was, I don't want to say like the struggles you faced, but what was something that maybe you didn't expect, that needed to be built on that you didn't get right out of the gate?
Yeah, I think, to be quite honest, it's just like when you're building the plane while flying it, sometimes like you might have heard like, right people in the right seats, right? But the problem is when you're building a plane, you're flying it, like you haven't even built the chair yet. So you're like literally, like I tell people, funny enough, I'm playing with one, but tell people that like this building this club, and I think it'll always be this. I think that's the beauty of sports is it's never consistent. There's always movements. It's like a Rubik's cube, right? It's just every time a piece of the puzzle clicks, the whole puzzle changes again. So I think for me is having a little bit more of that awareness, understanding, and knowing that you can now define some of the seats and have a definition to them. Then you can find the right person for that seat instead of trying to make a seat for a specific person. And that goes on both sides, front of house as well as sporting side. You know, when you think of a player, like how do you make the system fit the players versus how do we create a philosophy and a playing style? If I said Barcelona, men or women's, we would immediately know their playing style, right? It's just recognizable like that. So while we're still on the ground floor, how do we create a playing style that we want to develop and build, and then start finding the players that can fit into that playing style versus trying to force a player to fit into a style that just honestly isn't the right seat for them. So I think that would probably be one of the biggest things that I've learned from both sides of the house is now that we have more of a run-up time. It's, you know, entertained a really good conversation today about supporting another women's sports team here in town. It's not a major league sports team. It's a minor league sports team. And, you know, I can tell you for a fact, we would not have had the bandwidth last year to even consider the request. But now it's like, hey, yeah, like, look, we have a full ticket team now, right? Not everyone didn't just get up and move. And then we're sitting there like struggling, being like, okay, nobody in ticketing except a ticket ops person. That's fun. So now you have account executives, right? Now you have the lead in time. You now have season ticket renewals. You now have a ticket strategy plan. So, but yeah, I think it's that. I think it's now that I have the ability to name a seat and put somebody in it versus the other way, trying to make something like a square fit into a circle kind of a concept.
Well, then kind of piggybacking off of that, start with some fun challenges have been going on this season.
Yep.
What is your view on the season so far? We've had some changes in this mid-season break. I think very positive. I liked a lot of what I've been seeing on the pitch these past 2 games back. How do you think we're gonna finish out this season?
Yeah, I mean, the theme of the season right now at this point of it, right? I'm still really optimistic about it, really optimistic about the players and the mix of players. Credible chemistry between the players off the field, which is great, right? Because at the end of the day, majority of the time, that's the challenge is how do you manage a locker room, right? So, but the theory so far is like death by a million cuts, which is essentially just a point, right? You can't move meaningfully through it. But that is like, if we look at just first place through 9th place, it's easy to kind of paint that story. But if you look at the actual points and the differential, and even just the realization of last year, with all due respect, we didn't have a great fall last year either. It wasn't,
really.
yeah. So like when everyone's like, well, you guys were amazing last year, I was like, clearly you only saw us play from March on, but okay. That's okay. That's the whole point, right? We lifted a trophy. Everyone forgot all of the other little lessons that we learned along the way. But at the same time, you see the parity of the league jump up significantly, right? So I remember being next to the Lexington owner last year at our game against them away, and he was like, never again. And I was like, oh dear God, like awesome guy, owns horse races, but I was like, or horses that race. And I'm like, yeah, this ain't going to be pretty next year, right? Man, the boy's going to open up his salary, his pocketbook. And sure enough, he did. Right. So like, that's where you see that success. And obviously they brought in a really good coach over from Chicago, who's unfortunately no longer on the women's side. But like that's where you see a lot of that success, and that to me is also exciting, right? So naturally, would we want to be back-to-back champions of 100%? Naturally, would we want to be competing and being the undeniable top 2? Yes, but I think the bigger story is about the league and the fact that like some of the teams figured it out pretty quickly, like. We ain't playing, right? Like this is not, Division 2. This is not patty cake. This is not just giving women an opportunity to play. Like that's part of the narrative. But at the end of the day, it's still pro soccer. Wake up. We got to go. And so that's what the teams, as you can see, I think Jacksonville did a really good job. At first, we were curious on their mix, right? Because it's the younger, it's the youth, but a really good eye for potential talent. And I can tell you, I lost a lot of players in negotiations to other teams this upcoming season. And guess what? Those players are having impact. So maybe it's a testament. Anytime we've showed interest in a player, the agents run off and shopped them off to every other team. So I'm finding a way to have it ticking time bomb contract so that it don't sit there and, go into, you know what? I'm just going to pretend I like a player so that I can make all the other clubs like put like 20, 30K extra on it and be like, I didn't want that player anyways. I was just wasting your budget. But it's been interesting in that respect. Now, I think kind of like to that point, when I try to explain to people the role of a general manager, like the least sexiest role of a general manager is you're always looking, and I told the players this, and I'm like, this is the crappiest part of the job. I'm always looking to replace you. It's the worst part, but any general manager of any professional sports team, as soon as you sign a player, you're looking for the next person that's better for them. And that sounds really callous. And I'm like, but that's at the end of the day, we got to perform on the field, right? That comes into tickets, fans, corporate partnerships, enjoyment, etc. Obviously, one's personality and the chemistry that they bring in is also incredibly important. And that's not lost, and context isn't lost on me either. But that is kind of the hard part of pro sports, is that you're always looking for that right mix. And so the interesting part of having that winter window, right, that, we're the only pro team, because I was just talking to a good friend from High Point who came to the game this weekend, and he's like, that winter window is really interesting because then you pick up players and then you change them, right? Do you change up a starting 11 player who's now sitting the bench, or a goalkeeper, and mix them up? Like, how do you manage the psychology behind that? And that's something we're all learning, to be quite honest. The players are learning it. Many of them haven't played in that kind of a system where they're like, wait a second, it's a long season. Yeah, we play pretty much, if you go to championships, you play 11 out of the 12 months. And we knew that. We found that out when we had only a 3-week rest period, right? From the championship to preseason. So, I think for this season, still a lot of hope and a lot of potential, a lot of that attacking firepower. There's just that one little domino that needs to drop. Liz, as you mentioned, like you could see it last fall, we weren't able to put balls in the back of the net. This season already, we're putting balls in the back of the net, creating a lot more potential opportunities for that. It's just that last, which everyone always says. But you see, look at the possession oriented, the way coach is starting to play now with the players that we have for this season. And then just, fun fact, waiting for that one or two other player that we're looking for right now. Unfortunately, not an international player, because it takes 6 to 8 weeks if you're lucky to get them in. And at that point, if I sign an international, it's because they're with us for 2 years. But you're still looking for that right little mix that doesn't really shake up the team and the chemistry, particularly those that have been together for 6 weeks now. But you're still finding that little extra element that you're looking for. So none of that's lost on us, and none of it's lost that this game isn't over. The players don't think it's over. Playoffs don't think it's over. And I can make a commitment to you guys that that's what we'll always be fighting for, is for championships, for playoff spots, right? What's the next domino again push? Get into the playoffs. That's all we're focused on right now. Get into the playoffs. And how do we do that? We put some W's on the board, right? And we show consistency, and the players have done a good job of not what I call spiraling. They've stuck to the plan. They're consistent. They believe in it. And they're willing to commit. And even they are seeing the difference in these last 2 games compared to what we had, particularly at the trail end of the fall.
Good. Optimistic view. That's how we feel too. I mean, we've talked in the last couple of game recaps about how we were probably the better squad on the field. Some opportunities didn't go our way. Maybe there was some inexperience in some of the new debuts, but also every single minute they play, and also every single minute in training, they're building that experience as well. So a lot to look forward to in the rest of the year. And we don't think we're out of it yet either. So as fans, we'll be at every game, drumming, singing, making
Let's
noise.
go. I know you guys all froze your butt on the Gasparilla game, and I'm like, I'm so proud of them. I'm here because I think I'm legally required to be at this game, and they're just here of their own volition. Like, I'm so honored. So thank you guys for freezing. And we had our first rain game this season. The irony that we had one rain game to date, like knock on wood, but just incredibly, like, always in awe of the fans and you guys for showing up and showing up. So thank you guys for that.
Yeah. Did you have any? I was
going to say thank you for giving us something to show up for.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how long I can't tell you how long I was waiting for a Rowdies women's team because we've had the Rowdies for so long. And it never happened, and we finally got one.
Finally got one.
We had one for 1 minute and then COVID, so on the Rowdy side. So
we had a spark of an idea of a Rowdies women's team, and then COVID just knocked it out completely.
Oh, I do remember some chat being about that. Yeah, interesting. Huh? When the world died, but then proved that sports is not going anywhere, right? That was like it was crazy as a FIFA referee that as refereeing in the MLS and NWSL that I was getting COVID tests. I would test twice a week. And I'm like, how the heck do I have access to tests twice a week since the beginning to clear me so that I can go officiate on the weekends? I used to call Thursday Hug an Old Person Day, right? Because I knew I didn't have COVID. And I was like, there's no way I should be having access to all of these home test kits. And there's first providers and medical care and stuff who can't even get hold of these things. But that to me was just like sports is a different beast. It ain't going anywhere.
Yeah. Luckily we're out of that tunnel now.
I know I still get like PTSD when like there's like big groups. I'm like, like I don't want to be in that big group. But I think that's just me getting older and wishing I could just like stay in a room and read a book all the time and drink a glass of wine. So I might just be getting older.
I was going to ask, circling back to just getting rolling on the Super League and building a team up. Was there anyone that you called that you pulled in, called it a favor in, asked for help? Anyone that an old friend, like how did that, how did you leverage obviously a ton of experience you've had and a ton of connections?
I laugh because there's a lot. I've been the beauty, I think, and the blessing of having been part of this game and so many different things. I'm always asking questions. I'm always a curious person. Is that I have a lot of access to a lot of different kinds of people at different levels, whether it's a player, whether it's ex-players on the national team, coaching staff such as like Emma Hayes, or like you get to like just huge names, right? And just people you can pick their brain about who really, really care about the sport. But I'm going to say his name because it's funny. I call him in the good and I call him in the bad. And the irony was, so it's Lee Cohen, who used to be the president and general manager of the Rowdies. But the first time I met Lee was when I was a referee, and he was assigned, and this is way back, right? He worked his way up the office at the Rowdies, and he was assigned to the referee. So he would be responsible for getting us from the parking lot and then getting our Gatorades and our bananas and making sure like the locker rooms are set, and just a good person to talk about. Like I'd always ask about the business and, how does it work? And then to see his growth in the Rowdies was really, really cool to where he got to the top. So funny enough, when this came along, he was the second call I made. And I go, hey, Lee. And he goes, do they ask you? And I was like, dear God, you know this about this too, right? Like, actually was the third because I think my husband was the second and he was the third. And so Lee's like, you can do this. And I was like, sure, I think, but like, what are we doing? Like, I believe I could do something too. I just don't know what it is. So shout out to Lee, who's obviously now the president of Charleston Battery. But it was such a fun kind of cool conversation to have where like we knew each other for years over just him being our referee liaison and then seeing him grow. So at times when it is tough, I call Lee and I was like, I say, you told me this was going to be fun. He's like, it is fun. I was like, so he's the person I lean on, that I send out smoke signals to, that I also call and say thank you for, just the person who's always kind of had my back and the support side of it. And, like, hey, how do I tackle this scenario, this situation from a personnel management side? He's like, well, here's the things that are always true. So it's just really great to be able to rely on someone, particularly who's been in the USL ecosystem, because it is different than the other professional leagues that I've been a part of, and that I can get feedback from others. So him being part of the USL ecosystem is really enlightening, and it's really helpful on how to navigate it as well too, from both the business side and just the inner politics side of it all as well too.
That's cool. I didn't realize it was going to be such a close connection because he was my boss when I worked at the Rowdies. So
really?
Yeah. So that's
also
cool.
like to like always annoy him, right? Because he's like so easy to annoy. It's so much fun.
Definitely.
So just one last question then. What do you, is there anything you want the fans to know? Is there anything you want, just to put out there for the season, for the rest of the season?
Yeah, I mean, I think for like the fans is right, the more and more we're kind of like learning and telling our story and our brand and our narrative. And you guys are seeing a lot more of that with social media, right? Like today was our new grassroots marketing manager's second day. Yesterday was all onboarding, but you'll see us out and about more. We've always been a club for the community, named by the community, and truly are part of the community. It's not just a ploy to say, hey, we need more season ticket holders. Like, no, it truly has been. It's the reason why launching the foundation to me was so critical in year one, which everyone's like, you don't have time. Why are you launching a foundation? I'm like, because football and soccer, particularly women's soccer, for me personally, has been a bigger platform for other kinds of change and movement and just seeing things. The game is for everyone, right? The pros and pals with the disability, with the foundation is just mind blowing when you have 60 kids who don't have access to soccer and they have just, I hate the word disability. It's not disability, it's ability. It's just different abilities. So for me, kind of just the biggest portion for the fans is like, you'll see that, like, my tagline is all in. And I know sometimes all in to me might feel like an extreme for others. So I'm always trying to counterbalance that. But our club's vision, right, is to be the best in women's professional soccer that's connected to the community and a voice for women's sports in Tampa Bay. That's our vision. And how we show up every single day, not just the front of house, but also the sporting side from the staff, and players are staff. So, the personnel and the thing is, right, we show up with all in, the whole point of move together as one. That's a true thing, right? Because that was one thing I identified, was that we're all paddling really, really hard and sometimes in different directions, but with all good intentions. So now paddling in the same direction with the same consistency, then everyone is using and exerting the same energy, is incredibly important for me. And there's a couple of other values, but the one I'll leave you guys with is never settle. That's really, really important for me. It's pushing the status quo. It's saying something like, if someone's like, oh, that's great, it's like, awesome, but how can we make it better, right? Like, how can we be best in class? How can we grow? The overall global vision is to be one of the best, to be a leading voice and, the best be part of one of the best women's professional soccer teams in the world. It's a very big, big aspirational goal. And that's why we break it down more to a regional one for the moment, for the next 5-year plan. But this concept of never settle, please note that that's something that's tried and true, because anything that comes across, I'm like, how can we be better? How can we be better? Probably to the jargon of like the front of house staff is like, just tell us we're good and we're great. I'm like, you're great, boo. How can we be better? Right. So that none of that's lost on us. Particularly, I call you guys the OGs, right? The season ticket holders who bought tickets when we didn't even have the schedule out. And I'm like, what is wrong with you people? You're my kind of crazy. So for the fans out there, for you guys out there, just know we're never going to settle. That's not part of our DNA. And we're for the community, by the community, will always be. And you'll see that through our actions. And anything that missteps, it's not a misstep of intention. And that's the beauty of sports. You can always pivot. So if something doesn't work out, no problem. Like, we'll take the punches, or we'll take the learnings and the lessons, and then we'll always pivot and just never settle and be better for you guys day in and day out.
Awesome.
All right. That's awesome. I love it. Cool. Yeah. I mean, never settle definitely comes through for our first season with that championship. And I definitely know we're aiming for more in the coming years.
Well, and I think I've seen it too. Like, we had a really rough fall, and the signings came in and the departures went out, and now we look definitely a lot more energized, and like, it's clear that mentality is coming through to the team, and I know they're all working hard. So it's really nice to see so far.
Yeah, and they're such good humans, guys. Our players are incredible human beings. I'm like, can someone be an asshole? It's easier to cut assholes, but they're all really incredible human beings, which makes it fun too. So it's like, all right, guys, we got it. We got a couple more months. We can do this. We can do hard things.
Awesome.
All right. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us today. We really, really appreciate it.
Of course. Thanks for your guys' time. And truly, thank you guys for covering. It's so important to get the word out and what we're doing. We are the best kept secret in Tampa Bay. And that is something we are looking to crush and get rid of that tagline.
All right. I can't wait to do this again, because we definitely have to.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely. We'll do quarterly sessions. And we'll be like,
yes, absolutely.
Sounds good. Appreciate you guys.
Thanks, Christina.
Bye.
And we're back. That was a great interview.
She gave us a lot of great info. I liked the optimism. I liked her forward thinking. I actually was like almost surprised, not surprised, but just how energetic she was about the rest of the season, and how she's feeling about what they're working on still, and I like that a lot. So thanks, Christina, for coming on the show.
Yeah, thank you again, if you're listening, for coming on the show, and we will have her. She will be back. She made a promise.
Yes, we're gonna do semi-annual reviews. It's gonna be like a shareholders meeting. Around the league, some things are changing, and this, if you know the Sun schedule, is immediately extremely relevant to us. Fort Lauderdale swapped out their coach to an interim head coach. They sacked Ali Rogers. One of my favorite words in football is sacking somebody. Forest have done it so much this year that it's just become part of my identity. So Ali Rogers is out at Fort Lauderdale. He had been their coach since the start. So that's definitely...
She was like the assistant coach. Tyrone Mears was the first coach for Fort Lauderdale. But she was there. She's been there since the beginning, though. You're
involved
correct.
Since the start.
Yes.
So that's definitely a big change. But Paul Jennison is coming in as the interim head coach, and it was goalkeeper and first assistant coach over there already. So it's not as much of a change as it seems. It's not a total turnover. The interim role definitely implies that they might still be looking for somebody to take it on permanently, but if he looks promising, they might keep him. And then he was also I was reading through his history just briefly, relevant to us. He was the head of goalkeeping at IMG Academy in Bradenton. So it's kind of an interesting local connection. Doesn't really matter to me at all. He's in Fort Lauderdale now, and that's as good as dead. So, but we play them next. So that is definitely interesting for us. And when we get into the game preview in a few, we can speak on some of the changes that have happened for them.
Some other scores, though, from this past week. Sporting Jacks played Spokane Zephyr on this past Wednesday, and they beat them 3-0. Quite a pounding. Damn. Yeah. Saturday, we had a couple of games. Lexington versus Dallas was postponed due to Lexington field conditions. Not really sure any specifics of that. Not sure if it was like snow, rain, what. They have their own stadium. I don't understand what the issue could be, but okay. Carolina lost to Spokane, so Spokane really took that Sporting Jacks and ran with it. The Sporting Jacks lost and ran with it. Did not want Carolina to score. They beat them 2-0. And then Fluted played Brooklyn in a very exciting game that ended in 3-3, where there was it was the first game with this new coach in charge. And Brooklyn even got a red card in the 75th minute for dissent, supposedly, but it more looked like a kick out.
Yeah.
But it was probably dissent.
That was a very funny instance where our favorite player to hate, Jasmine Hamid, was fighting somebody.
No, not really. Jasmine Hamid. Shania Gordon.
Oh, our other favorite player to hate.
That's
Shania Gordon.
No, Jasmine Hamid we want on the Sun.
Yeah. It was a rough tackle on Cook. Cook got up and was like, "Hey, that was mean." Not what she said, for sure. She said something way worse. And the ref was like, "That's your second yellow in this sequence," because she got a yellow on immediately the play before that put it out of play, that she got tackled or she got pulled down on the throw-in. So crazy back-to-back yellows. If everyone's yelling at you, Shania, maybe you might be the problem. We'll see. Just kind of a funny sequence of events there. We don't really have room to talk because Fort Lauderdale's the other team towards the bottom of the table with us, but I don't know. They seem to be playing mad. I've seen some highlights. I've seen some frustrated moments. The vibes in our camp are better. So, let's just roll right into the match preview, I guess, off of that. Saturday, February 21st, this Saturday coming up, we were playing Fort Lauderdale United. The team don't have like a theme night on the on like social media, but then at the end of the game last week, they were like, "It's a yellow out, wear yellow." And Fort Lauderdale is blue, but they're different blue, but it's still not different enough, I guess. And so we're going to wear yellow to make it clear, other than the fact that we're in a beautiful stadium on the waterfront in downtown Tampa, that we are definitely not Fort Lauderdale.
Yes, and our stadium has a better name than, as I like to lovingly refer to it, as Bed Bath & Beyond Stadium.
Yes. And it's like in the middle of what feels like warehouses.
Yep. All right. So last two meetings with Fort Lauderdale have both been draws. We had a 0-0 draw. Yeah. So surprising. The sky is blue and the Pope is Catholic.
Yes.
We had a 0-0 draw in October and then a 1-1 draw in November.
And that's it.
This is just a team that has been a tough one this season. I think some of our own challenges have not helped. I won't like our players. They've also lost a couple players. They had Stella Nyameke and Princess Adamaliu were loanies from Gotham. They went back to Gotham. Only Stella came back. So they are down Princess at least, which is good for us, bad for them. We like that. There's a couple other players to keep an eye out for. We have Kiara Locklear, also lovingly referred to as Prowly, because the Super League didn't know how to get its shit together with putting the correct names of players in. So we definitely thought her name was Prowly for a good 6 months. We were just like, sure, why not?
Why not?
She has 5 goals for this season, most on Fort Lauderdale. So we're definitely going to need to neutralize her. Kelly Van Treek, pretty general player, but she has been with the team for the 2nd year now. She is like one of the faces of Fort Lauderdale at this point. So another player we really need to keep an eye on. Jasmine motherfucking Hamid. I'm going to use my 1 for her because it's Jasmine Hamid. She's too good for them. It's kind of frustrating. I would like her on the Sun, quite frankly. She is a shot machine. She's got 30 for the season. She's 7th in the league, and considering that Fort Lauderdale has a -10 goal differential, that's still pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Leveni Vaca had a great game against Brooklyn, unfortunately. Hoping she has a terrible game against us, because she's a really good defender. It's very frustrating. We definitely need to keep her on her toes. And then, like I said, Stella Nyameke, just a really great overall player that I think Fort Lauderdale is going to lean a little more heavily on now that they know that they have her for the rest of the season.
Yeah. And Fort Lauderdale's in a good place, unfortunately. We didn't get to play them right at the end. We were having our own like really rough time. If we played them in like December, the game might have finished like negative points scores on both teams. They had a run of games, including their first game back this half of the season, giving up multiple goal losses. It was like 3-1, 3-0, 4-1. They just looked terrible. Obviously, that immediately led to the coach turnover that they had, and they successfully stopped the slide, or they have a new manager bounce, whatever you want to call it, because this game is their first time scoring 3 goals since September. So something was clicking a lot more for them. Part of that might be the Brooklyn matchup. They didn't suddenly become the best attack in the league. They're still -10 goal differential where we are at as well. But they definitely looked a lot more cohesive, and the new coach is going to be getting some different things out of the players that they weren't able to have before. So it's definitely an intimidating game to go into. I would have loved to have played them when they were on a slide and doing terribly, although maybe that is more motivating for players, and maybe they wanted to come into a rivalry game angry. And so maybe they have false security now that they've finally drew one, but they scored a few goals in it as well. So we will see about how that turns out. But they've also conceded the most goals in the league overall. So they have 33 goals against. We only have 27, a way lower number that is so much better and definitely much more respectable than 6 more. But that's the result. Those 6 goals are the result of 3 games where they just got totally blown out. So it's an intimidating game to go into, I would say. They are definitely a good team that just was not finding their footing. Well, they're a good team in this league, and they just weren't finding their footing. So they're one of our primary challengers for trying to climb into the playoffs. They have the exact same motivation we do. There's no security over there. They actually are starting from a way better place. They're on 19 points and we're only on 12. So we are the underdogs that have ever been. And they are going to feel like they have a better chance if they start capitalizing on games like the one coming up against us to get it done. So a lot of motivations on both sides. It's going to be a very challenging team. And then beyond that, the Sun, we have our own challenges because we have a couple things that we just don't know about our roster. Obviously, we did talk about roster consistency being, or starting lineup consistency being good. And I do believe that. I mean, I think if we put the same team out there that we just put out against DC, we're going to have a good game. But unfortunately, we just don't know what's going on with Sydney Nasello. Obviously, she came out injured. She came by us in the heat wave, helped by medical assistance, and she was on crutches after the game. These are just all things that public information because we were there. Other than that, there's been no official announcement from the team. They posted some training photos today, and she was not included in them. So we just don't know if it was something as small as a cramp or some kind of burn, or I don't know what sports injuries are, but or if it's as serious as a tear or something more serious. So don't want to speculate at all. But I would say there's probably a chance we don't see Sydney Nasello in the next game. So that would definitely be rough.
See, I don't know. I think she might want to play this Fort Lauderdale game just out of pure spite.
I mean, maybe she might just levitate. She doesn't have to use her legs out of spite and hatred. I mean, it's possible for sure. Like I said, if we don't know anything, it could be a very simple injury that just felt really bad at the time. I mean, she was definitely very upset and frustrated coming off. She's a contender. She's out there every single minute of every single game, putting it all out there. So definitely wishing her.
Yeah, she doesn't come off unless it's bad.
Yeah, so definitely wishing her the best. I hope it was something minor that in the moment hurt really bad and now has cleared up for her and maybe she's training. And hopefully the team gives us some news about that. They haven't been very forthcoming with injury information to members of the media or posting generally. It's usually from like a player's personal account that we've gotten information. And Sydney is not the most common poster as well on her own account with regular story updates. So we might not know, but she is kind of our MVP and our most well-known player and our home player, like one of our most revered locally. So it would be nice if the team let us know if it is going to be an extended injury. Just that she's going to be going through that process. Apart from Sid, though, Schneider also got called up to Jamaica, and she will. She's not. Camp hasn't started yet, has it? They just did the call-ups, but this might be part of why she hasn't been involved in the team. She wasn't even dressed for the last game, and maybe Jamaica was just like, hey, we have important games coming up, and the team was willing to oblige. I mean, we definitely have the keepers to, have a primary and a backup. So no injury for Schneider. It was just probably in the eve of her getting called up to Jamaica that she didn't play. But one return that we don't know about yet also, but she was not on the injury list, was Maddie Picorni. She was in those training photos I mentioned earlier. She has like a compression sleeve on her quad, which is what the injury list said, that she had a quad injury, but she's in training and she's off the official injury list. There is a possibility we could see her. I would expect, since it was a multi-week thing, that if she is on the team sheet, that it would be as a sub. I don't think she is immediately going to be playing in the game. Also, again, because we have that consistency now building up between all of our starters, our kind of consistent starting lineup we've had for 2 games now. But I don't know. She might be okay. She might be totally fine. Maybe she's back in full training, and maybe we look to her as a player who could come in and just change a few things for us, or could fill in a gap that we have, and maybe she will play. So all we know is she's off the injury list, and we might see her in the team sheet.
JD, what's your score prediction for this match?
History says it's a draw, but I don't know why the only history quote that popped in my head is like, well-behaved women rarely make history. I mean, think
that's pretty good for this game, considering the Sun literally have the picture of Nasello going like this, framed in the office.
Look, if anything, I'm optimistic too much. I'm going to say we win 2-0. I'm going to say we shut them out. They're a hot offense. They have been playing well, and it's time for that to stop. It's time to cut it out. So I think we do that successfully. We hold them to 0, and then I think we could score 2 goals in any game against any team in this league, except for maybe like Lexington right now. I really like what our offense looks like. I like the things that we're doing. We literally just have to have a little bit more intelligent final touch to not immediately get blocked by a defender when we shoot the ball. And if we can do that twice, then my score prediction of 2-0 will be correct. Liz, where are you at?
Unfortunately, I'm going to err on the side of caution. I'm going to say a 1-1 draw.
Nah.
I am impressed though. Sunrise of all, who has been the most negative Nelly, says 1-0 win. That's crazy.
See, Data's on my side.
Yeah.
Except I'm even
Super
more optimistic than Data.
Yeah, you think it's gonna be 2. Super producer Eureka also thinks it's gonna be 2 goals, but 2 goals to 1, which, considering they have Jasmine Hamid, I wouldn't be that surprised.
Pragmatic from our super producer, always thinking over there. So That makes sense. Well, do you have a yellow thing to wear to the game? Do you have one of the yellow jerseys?
Yeah. Okay.
I don't have one. I made all that talk about like picking up one of the Gasparilla jerseys. They're not yellow, they're tan. But I think the thing is that it's not blue. Yeah. So I think I might pick up one of those. I just don't think I'd look good in the yellow jersey. I don't want to invest in that for myself, So
JD, I think you look good in a Sun jersey.
Okay, well, any Sun jersey is going to make the wearer look better. But maybe I'll pick up the Gasparilla one. It's so then at least I'm not wearing dark blue, which apparently people might mistake, even though it's a Sun jersey for a Fort Lauderdale jersey, which I don't even think Fort Lauderdale wears blue. I think their kits are like,
they were black.
Yeah.
David from Tampa pointed this out, and I did think that was very funny because he's correct. It's their like Eclipse kit or something stupid. I can't remember. They gave it a name and everything. Yeah, it's their bought in bulk from the manufacturer because they were like too late with a custom design or something. I don't know. Well, we will see you all Saturday. Yeah. If you've been you made it to the end, this was a long one, but we did have a very cool interview to do. So you'll have to forgive us for the length, but thank you if you did make it to the end. If you haven't subscribed, you should do that. At RBLR Sports on YouTube, at RBLR Sun FC everywhere else. You can see our beautiful faces. You can see Christina Unkel's beautiful face. Make sure you do that. Leave us a comment. Tell us how much you loved this episode and how good that interview was. Argue with JD in the comments or something. I don't know. Only positive comments for Liz, only negative comments for me. Let's duke it out. Let's go. All right. On that note, I think that about wraps it up. We will see you next week. If I can hit buttons. There we go. Buttons! Bye.
Thank you for tuning into this presentation by RBLR Sports. On your way out of the stadium, please remember to like and subscribe.